Happy Tuesday, everybody. One of my favorite stories. I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit because it's a little long, and I know normally these last about 5 minutes or so. Guy and his wife are getting ready to move, and they've got one of those big moving trucks, and they figure out that they're going to fill it, and it's going to be too full, so they have to get a cart or a trailer that they put on the back of this moving truck. So they've hooked up the trailer, and they got to hook everything up, and the guy has to hook up the lights on the back of the trailer so that if he stops, the brake lights work and all that other stuff. So he tells his wife, go in the back and let me know if the lights are working. And he turns on, first he hits the brakes. And she yells out, they're working. And then he lets the brakes off and she says, now they're not. And then he turns on the blinker. And she says, it's working, now it's not, it's working, now it's not, it's working, now it's not. The guy turns the blinker off and comes around to the back of the trailer, and he looks at her and he goes, what are you doing? And she goes, what? And he goes, it's a blinker. That's how you know that it's working when it's not. That's really a lot about life. Sometimes you know that it's working because it's not. If everything that we wanted happened all the time, we'd have a brake light. But what we want is a life. And so that means that sometimes things aren't going to work. If you want perfect security and to know that everything's going to be okay all the time, that's prison. That's where you have perfect security. You know that you're going to get food. You know you got shelter. You know you got a place to sleep. What you want is how life works. But we got to remember that whatever we focus on, whatever we talk about, that's the reality that happens. So even when life's not working the way that we're expecting it to, which, let's be honest, happens more often than not, we have to remember to manage our focus, manage our state, manage the things that we're paying attention to so that we're focusing on what was good. Focusing on what is working. Focusing on the fact that just because it's not going perfectly, it's still working in our favor. So yesterday we were going to get a win. So what happens today? Figure out what it is that you want to have happen, and then at the end of the day, figure out first, pay attention first to what went right. You can always look later at what went wrong. But for when you finish your day today, write down the things that went correctly. Do 3 things that went correctly. Or that were great, or that you learned, or that you are happy about, whatever. 3 positive things that happened today. 3 things that you could write down and say, this was great, this was great. Even if it's just, I had a great conversation with my spouse, or I had a great conversation with a coworker, or a great conversation with a parent or with a child. But at the end of today, 3 things that went right. And then we're going to do that again tomorrow, and we're going to do that again the next day. We got to remember to continue to focus on what is working in addition to what's not. We don't ignore what's not, we correct what's not, but we don't just only focus on that. So we're going to remember to retrain ourselves to focus on what was working, what did work, and remember that when things aren't working, that's life. That's life actually working in our favor. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my Uncle Bill. Good morning, Dolores. And my beautiful Diana is on this morning from the West Coast, if you're still on the West Coast. Great to see you. Good morning, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.